joined in studio by a great guest, Gary Strankman, who has a great history here. I'm just meeting him for the first time here in the green room and in our studios just before the mics came on, and I'm fascinated already. Gary, what a pleasure it is to meet you. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. So you are a Shelton native. You were born at Mason General, correct?
I was born in Mason General in 1941, delivered by Dr. Linkletter 10 minutes after 10 on a Sunday morning.
Wow, that's fantastic. What a great memory, too. You remember actually what that was like, too.
That,
Well, fantastic. So you've got roots in Shelton going back many decades, and you were a judge in California, correct? How did that come about? How did you end up going to California?
When I graduated from high school in '59, which is the reason I'm up here, because it's the 60th year, and they've asked me to chat at the reunion.
Oh, that's great.
But I left. I went to Willamette first, and they booted me out as not being Willamette material.
Oh.
So I ended up at the University of Washington, and then later went to law school down in California at Berkeley.
Oh, okay. I went to Berkeley too, not law school, but
Hall. And then I later became a judge in California, and I was a judge there for over 20 years. I ended up being the chief administrative presiding justice for the first district in California, and our jurisdiction ran from San Jose to the Oregon border.
Wow. So you were a judge during the time I was living there. Yeah, I was born and raised.
Went off doing other things.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, that's great. Now, you have the Strankman Scholarship, correct, for teachers and principals, specifically in the Shelton School District. Is that right?
Exactly. There's a website that many people know called, well, you might be from Shelton If. It's got almost 5,000 members now, which is incredible. And a guy named Lenny Morris mentioned a ghost of Shelton, and I created one, a logger named Paul. And I write little stories about him. And the people at the Buck Institute for Education, as it was called then, which a trust that I was in charge of funded, they had read some of the stories. And when I retired from there, they decided a way to honor me, I guess, was to create these scholarships, which they did. And we fund 2 teachers and 1 administrator every year at their PBL World, which is a sold-out event in Napa, California.
Oh, wow.
And we pay full ride. We pay travel, lodging, food, tuition, books.
That's fantastic.
Everything.
Wow.
And the school district here has found it so useful that they've actually, the last 2 years, paid for additional people to go, and they sneak them in under my name because the place is sold out. But
wow. That's really cool. I'm glad to see it's been so successful.
Yeah.
And you've raised lots of money for Saints Pantry here in town, $20,000 plus since 2016, is that right?
Right. In 2016, there was some criticism made of that site I mentioned, that it was too much involved in just Shelton memories. And I thought one thing we could do would be to raise some money to help Shelton as it is now. And so I pledged some money and have twice a year and done fundraisers for the pantry. And we've raised over $20,000 for the pantry since 2016.
That goes a long way to help people in the community.
Yeah, it's helped a lot. Last spring we paid for a big hunk of the backpack program. And for the last, I believe it's 2 or 3 years, we've paid for the majority, if not all, of the Thanksgiving turkeys and some of the Christmas hams out of that money.
Wow, that's great. So you have one coming up, right?
I'll probably launch another one in October for the Thanksgiving drive.
Wow, that's great.
Once I get back to California and figure out what I'm going to do. But yeah.
Sure. Well, we appreciate everything you're doing and have done for many years in the community. What can people do who are listening who want to be a part or to help out? What can they do?
Well, on either a project on the scholarships, there really isn't much because we fund the money, but just be supportive of the program and make sure that Dr. Apostle and everybody knows that we're around and we're doing the work for Shelton. And the as for the pantry, if they happen to be a part of that drive, or they go to my Facebook website, they'll find it there. And I put up announcements, and I match the money that other people give, and try to create some money for the pantry.
Well, that's great. And, you know, the pantry helps men, women, children, the elderly. I mean, you know, times, you know, we hear times are going great, but they're not going great for a whole lot of people, and a lot of people are suffering continually.
Yeah,
and they need things like that.
I was just told that the Shelton School District itself has 400 homeless kids going to that.
I couldn't believe that number. It's heartbreaking. It's staggering. It is
heartbreaking. And the backpack program was, I specifically asked if we could fund that or help fund that, because that helps kids who need food when school is not in, and they're not getting food through the school.
Yeah.
And the money goes all over Mason County, really, although it's primarily Shelton, but all over Mason County.
How can people contact you if they want to reach out, or what is your Facebook page? Is it the one?
It's just Gary Strankman on Facebook, and there's not very many Gary Strankmans in the world. I think there's one more in Canada someplace, but that's it. Or they could go to the You Might Be From Shelton If site. And
it's a great site. I'm on it right now.
Information there, which is probably the easiest. And if you become a member of that site, then all you need to do is have some connection to Shelton. You get a lot of good pictures and old stories and memories of Shelton, and I find it very enjoyable, actually.
It's great. I love this. I'm looking at people post old menus that they found, you know, in their mom's stuff. And when people pass and stuff, they're going through things, and they find a lot of great mementos of Shelton, of Mason County, and great stuff. So that one's, You Might Be From Shelton If, and then you can look up Gary Strankman, Strankman, and find him on Facebook as well. Gary, what a pleasure to meet you here in person at the radio station, and I'm touched by all your hard work, and thanks for doing everything you do.
Well, thank you. And I was asked, although if it violates your rules, I won't do it, to say happy birthday to Cindy.
Oh, no, absolutely. Please. Happy birthday, Cindy. Well, thank you very much, Gary. A pleasure.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Gary Strankman, our guest here on iFiber One News Radio and Daybreak. And